Hey, what's up? So this is Bitsy. This is my family's dog. We came up to my parents' house to shoot a part of this Pikmin video that we're making. And she's not old, but she's getting up there. She's probably like 7 or 8 years old now, so she doesn't get as excited as she used to when she was a little younger. So we were trying to get her all psyched. And now she's super tired. Anyways, she's the star of the video. Had a bunch of people here trying to get her all riled up and go crazy.
She's like dead now.
She's dead now.
Which is good because we had her sort of die in the video.
That's true. We did need her to like lay down and kind of be dead.
So this is the plate that we put.
We use the Steadicam for every shot.
Yeah, on the Steadicam. There's a Steadicam. We just pull it off. We got the camera on the plate, so it's really, really low to the ground, but still like stable. And then we use some envelopes to kind of tilt it up like a little bit, or you know, for whatever we needed. And there's one shot I think Kason used just one single envelope because it actually made that big of a difference, because we don't want to be shooting from high up, because we can't shoot from high up when we do green screen stuff.
Right.
What we're trying to do is when you shoot green screen footage, a lot of times you don't want to be on a really wide lens that creates some distortion, because that's going to create some amount of distortion from head to toe, especially if you have movement like with depth. It looks different flattened out when you're at a longer lens than it does, you know, kind of more distorted at a wider angle. And so we're trying to be as zoomed in as we can possibly be, so that we can composite the characters wherever they need to be, and their movement within their individual frames isn't going to look like they're starting to get distorted as they move anywhere. And so we're trying to be at the same angle that we can actually shoot green screen from.
We also don't want to get too much of like the feet contacting the ground, because we're going to have to create shadows. So that's never a lot of fun. So we can avoid showing feet touching the ground, and if we can shoot as dead on as possible, so we're trying to get low to the ground when we shot this, it should look right.
So you guys have seen us do this before in other videos. Whether you've watched those behind the scenes or not, I don't know. But there's this application you can use called 123D Catch. It's really awesome. What you do is you create an environment based purely on photographs that you've taken. You take a bunch of photographs, I think they recommend something like 40 to 50, and then you send them in, they process it in the cloud, and then they send you back what they believe to be a 3D representation with projected textures from your photos of what your scene was. We took pictures going all the way around in a complete circle. And what also helps is to kind of have some variation in height in your photos when you make that circle, so kind of complete almost like a weird kind of shaped loop. And what that's going to give you is something like this. Now, we had Mike standing in the grass here because you can kind of see it was the only shady area that we had, because we wanted to take a picture of him where he didn't really have a strong light source from any given direction, so that we could relight him and it would look correct. So we had Mike standing in the shade. So if you try this, stand in the shade. Rule number 1. And also, rule number 2, if you try this, is don't do what we did and stand in the grass if you can help it. We didn't have a choice here. But as you can see, we kind of ended up losing the feet here in the grass. So what we did was we exported this mesh as an FBX file, which can be opened by 3D Studio Max. Took that into 3D Studio Max. This is 2010. We deleted all the crap that we didn't want, cleaned it up, and we got down to the basics, just the mic, right here. Don't need that grass. None of us really have any modeling skills whatsoever, which is why the first thing we did in 3ds Max was Tetris, because it's cubes. You can't screw that up.
Simple.
So since we have standing in the grass, I had to make some little feet thingies here, which don't really look like feet when you get up close, but you know what? No big deal. No one's going to notice, because the idea is, and the idea behind a lot of visual effects is, you're going to hide things in the motion blur. People aren't going to be able to tell. Once we had this, then we had to rig the model. Now that has always sounded really scary to us, and we never really wanted to jump into rigging something ourselves, but it's actually really simple. We're going to put up another tutorial on this. It'll be more in depth in exactly how the whole process works. But basically, you drag out a skeleton, kind of like this, And this skeleton you place inside of the body. You kind of mess with it, move all the bones, move the hands where they need to be, and you want to get everything basically as centered in the arms and the hands and the legs as possible. And then that's going to allow you to apply a physics sim using, and the reason we're using 3ds Max 2010 right now is because there's a really quick way that you can do ragdoll physics using kind of a little Max script down here in the corner. And it's RCT make ragdoll UI and then 2 parentheses. Just hit enter on that and it will identify the biped that you've already created in the scene and it'll turn it into a ragdoll. Basically that means that you can use it to simulate some physics for your scene.
By the way, you guys probably noticed the hairs.
Oh, I'm just a new person altogether. Mike died. This is the new Wario.
This is
Mike.
Merkle Brain.
He was reborn from the ashes. They burned the hair off, so he was actually reborn from the ashes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that we were gonna do a video where we were gonna like burn my head, like light my head on fire, and I was gonna have short hair.
Oh yeah.